Hello everybody, hello. Welcome to Torah Tech Tips live on Facebook. Hello everybody, my name is David Paskin, Rabbi David. I'm so happy to see you all here today and to have you watch this video. We are live today on Facebook with a new Torah Tech Tips. I'm going to try and do live more often, and we'll actually talk about that a little later in the show today. But you know why we're here? I'm here on Torah Tech Tips because I want to give you great tips for great Torah, because I know that you are sharing great Torah out there, and I think that there are some tech tips that can help you. So the theme today is the 10 Commandments of sharing Torah online. The 10 Commandments. The reason we're doing 10 Commandments of sharing Torah online is because, it's the end of the year, and people tend to do top 10 countdowns, right? The top 10 this, the top 10 that. So I decided, let's do the top 10 tips about how you can best share your Torah digitally in this digital world that we live in nowadays. Now, I should say, before we go any farther, that we have vaccines. Thank God people are getting them. And I think there is a light at the end of this insane dark tunnel that we have been in and that we are in. I don't think that when we come out of this, once we're able to gather together again, I don't think that that means that we won't be using the digital medium anymore. I think this is here to stay. Whether it's streaming our services, whether it's streaming classes that we're offering, we have now become accustomed to consuming meaningful content, meaningful Torah, through our video screens. Now, hopefully that won't be the only place we consume it. Hopefully we will all come back together again. Hopefully we will be back in synagogues and shuls and temples and classrooms and parking lots and parks, wherever you get your Torah from. Hopefully we will all be back together again very, very soon. And I think this is here to stay. So we should make the best of it. We should make the Torah that we share the best that it can possibly be. And that's why I'm here. I wanted to share with you my top 10 Torah tech tips in honor of the new year. My name, if you don't know, is Rabbi David, right down there, Rabbi David. And I'm really happy to have you all here. So let's jump into it, okay? Number 10, drum roll, please. Wait, we need a drum roll. Drum roll, please. Number 10. Learn from others. Yeah, learn from others. We Jews, we are always learning. We're always learning. And we know from our sacred texts that we can sometimes learn the most from our students. And I have to tell you that I have learned so much over the past 6-9 months. I have found myself watching more services, both Jewish and non-Jewish, more services, more classes online, and watching not just so that I can participate, but watching so that I can learn how others are doing what I want to try and do, right? How are they constructing their program, their service, their class? What different technology are they using? There are so many behind the scenes episodes available on YouTube of how such and such does this piece of teaching or offers that service. Learning about the lighting, learning about the cameras, learning about the programs that they're using, learning about how they're constructing their slide decks if you're sharing slides. There's so much out there to learn from. And one of the amazing things over the past 9 months is how much sharing people have been doing. People have been not just putting out ideas, but putting out finished content that we can use, that we can borrow. We should always give attribution, but content that we can use, that we can learn from, that we can borrow, that we can help to enrich the Torah that we're sharing. So go out there, watch videos, watch other synagogues, watch other rabbis, other pastors, other teachers, whoever you are, other cantors. Watch other people do what you want to do and learn from them. Join Facebook groups. I use the program that I use is called eCam, and there's an amazing Facebook group, a couple of them actually, on for the eCam community. eCam is a program that I covered in one of the earlier videos. So whatever you're using, join Facebook groups and ask questions and learn from everyone that you can. All right. Are you ready? Number 9. It's not about the tech. It's about the Torah. Now, if you're not Jewish, you're not teaching Torah. Torah just means sacred teaching. All right. So whether you consider what you're teaching Torah or not, I'm calling it Torah. Right? Now, I have a confession to make. The confession is that I'm a new shiny thing kind of guy. When there's a new shiny thing, I want it. I want to play with it. I want to tinker with it. I want to use it. That's just, I don't know why, but I'm a new shiny thing kind of guy. I always want the latest tech. And what I found is that more often than not, I'll grab the newest shiny thing and it will turn out to be a bust. It won't work, or it won't be right for what I'm doing, or I didn't take the time to learn how to use it properly. A million excuses for why it ends up being a bust. But I forget sometimes that it's not about the tech. It's always about the Torah. Now we're going to talk in a moment about how tech is not a bad thing. Tech can help. But we can never lose sight of what we're really doing here, why we're all here, what our jobs are when it comes to connecting people to one another, to Torah, to God, to Judaism, to whatever faith community you come from. So, yeah, I'm going to keep trying the new shiny things, but let's all remember that it's not about the tech. It's always about the Torah. Number 8. Tech can enhance or distract from your Torah. Yeah. So I don't know right now if the drum roll and all these pop-ups right here are distracting or enhancing. I'm not really offering so much Torah as I am some tips here, but there is some technology that can really help and enhance the Torah that you're sharing, and there's technology that can really, really distract from it. Making sure that you have good audio, that you have good video, that you have engaging slides or wonderful overlays that people can see. All of that stuff is important. But sometimes it doesn't just get in the way, it actually can take away from what you're trying to offer. I'll give you one example. This is just a personal thing, and I'm actually going to talk about this next week on Torah Tech Tips. Virtual backgrounds. If you watch my first couple of videos, I had virtual backgrounds. I got a green screen down there. I had virtual backgrounds all the time. For myself, I have found that virtual backgrounds are just a huge distraction. They're not often used correctly, which means body parts disappear. And the moving backgrounds and all that stuff. I don't know. For me personally, I don't want people staring at my background. I want people paying attention to what I'm offering, the Torah that I'm teaching. And so when you're choosing technology for your Torah, choose wisely. Make sure that the technology that you're using is enhancing and enriching the Torah that you're offering and not distracting from it. All right. So since I just said that, now I'm not going to do the drum roll anymore. We'll just do number 7. Number 7, choose the right tools for the right job. Not every tool is the right tool for the right job. There are amazing technological tools and collaborative tools and sharing tools and digital tools that are out there. Amazing tools. But take the time to find the right ones that are going to help you share your Torah. And don't be afraid to change it up. There's new stuff coming out all the time. Don't be afraid to change it up. Just don't fall into that shiny new thing trap that I just talked about. Remember that the tools that are here are meant to help you do better, to help you share better Torah. Just make sure you find the right tools. My stream, the videos that I've produced, has changed drastically over the past 3-4 months. And I actually kind of feel like now I have pretty much the right tools. I feel like I have the right lights. I feel like I have the right programs, the right desk, the right setup. But it took me some time to get there. So take that time, find the right tools for your Torah, to share your Torah. All right, number 6, be yourself. I remember when I first became a rabbi that I really struggled with the idea that I was up on the bimah performing during services. And so I immediately moved my podium off of the bimah. I came down onto the floor. I wanted to be with everyone else. Pardon the doorbell there. I don't know how to turn that off, actually. So what I've come to learn is that as hesitant as I was, as much as I wanted to push back against the idea that what I did for a living was performing, there is an element of performing to what we do. Whether you're teaching, whether you're leading services, whatever it is, there has always been an element of performance. We are acting. And that's true whether you're digital or whether you're in person. It doesn't really matter. The difference is that there's a little bit more performing, I think, in the digital space. In large part because sometimes you don't get a lot of feedback. So right now I'm live on Facebook and I can't hear anyone else. In fact, now that I think that, I'm not sure why I have my earbud in my ear. I think old habits die hard. So it's because you don't have that feedback, because you don't have that connection, you have to be a little more animated. You have to perform a little bit more. But here's, for me, what I found. The most important thing when it comes to being yourself. You can't allow your performance to be inauthentic. People are yearning for authenticity. People want real Torah that comes from the depth of your soul. They want real connection. They want real prayer. And while we all have to do a little bit of performing when we're sharing Torah online, all of our performances have to be authentic. They have to come from who we are. You have to be able to be yourself, to be your true, authentic self when you're sharing Torah online, even though it requires just a little bit of performance. All right, my friends. I can't help myself, sorry. Number 5, don't be afraid to be silly. I know. Yeah, there you go. We have to be able to be silly. I found personally that it's really important. It's really important. Hi. Is it Anneke? I want to say your name correctly. Anneke, I hope, from Antwerp, Belgium. It's so good to see you. Yes, connection above perfection. Oh my goodness. Connection above perfection. I love that. So friends, let me get back to being silly. Sorry. I have found that being able to laugh at yourself and encouraging others to laugh along with you not only gives everyone a sense of comfort, but especially in these trying times, especially now, being silly gives us an outlet for some of our frustrations. We have to allow ourselves to laugh, to have fun. And in a moment, we're going to talk about making mistakes. I promise I'll get there, but let's laugh at those too. We need to be able to be silly. And sometimes that will mean using ridiculous noise effects. Sometimes that will mean putting silly images up. Or if you're on Zoom, maybe you want to use those, not the virtual backgrounds, what are they called? I'm forgetting what they're called. The funny faces you can put on. In any case, the Snapchat filters, right? I know that's not what they're called, but there are wonderful things that you can do to just be silly, to let people have fun with you. It's so important. And that leads us to number 4, which is don't be afraid to make mistakes. Yeah, we're going to make mistakes, my friends, all the time. I can't begin to tell you that one of the things I tell, bar bat mitzvah students who worry about, I'm going to make a mistake. What if I make a mistake? I say to them, if you had any idea how many mistakes I make on a daily basis, you'd be astonished. We cannot be afraid of making mistakes. And going back to the last one, it's okay to make fun of the fact that we make mistakes. So here's what I want to tell you. This is now the 9th episode of Torah Tech Tips, and they have all been pre-recorded up until now. And they've all been pre-recorded because, frankly, I've kind of been afraid to go live. I wasn't sure. Well, for one thing, I wanted to make sure that I actually knew how to do this. But for another thing, I wasn't sure that what I had to say would be helpful in a live setting. I was afraid I'd make mistakes. I was afraid. And then I just said, you know what? I'm just going to stop being afraid. And I'm going to make mistakes. And things are going to go wrong. And that's okay. And I'm going to be able to laugh at them. We can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. A lot of this past summer, when synagogues were preparing for their high holiday services, and this is not a critique, this is an observation. A lot of temples and synagogues went with pre-recorded services for part or all of what they were offering for their high holidays. And I think that a lot of us did that because we wanted them to be flawless. We didn't want to, right? We wanted to avoid mistakes and technical glitches and all the rest. My experience is that yearning for not too many mistakes left us wanting for connection. It left us, many of us, sitting at home watching instead of engaging in davening, because no one could hear my voice. No one, right? It sort of didn't matter if I was there, because it was like a TV show. It was a good TV show. People worked really, really hard. But I think part of our worry was that, what if things go wrong? What if there are mistakes? And my answer to that is, you can't worry about that. You can't worry about making mistakes. We're going to. And that's okay. Number 2, roll with the punches. Is this number 2? Did I skip one? Oh no, I skipped one. Forget number 2. Don't roll with the punches. Number 3, always have a backup plan. Wait, I gotta play some stupid music because I just made a mistake. Here we go. Right, okay. Always have a backup plan. So, you want a real life example of this? So I am right now looking at you, and I can see the little pop-ups, the little always have a backup plan there. On this screen over here, I had a whole list with a whole, what I should say about each one. Well, guess what? My browser just crashed. Like right in the middle of this right now, just crashed. So my backup plan is to use these on the screen to help remind me what comes next. And you see, I made a mistake. I pressed the wrong button. You gotta have a backup plan. There's a rule in, when it comes to backing up your data, there's a 3-2-1 rule. The 3-2-1 rule is you should have 3 backups of your data, your digital data, 3 backups in 2 different formats. So maybe one is in the cloud and one is on a hard drive or something like that. And then one of them should always be in the cloud. So 3 backups, 2 different types, one of which should always be in the cloud. Well, you should have at least a backup, at least one backup for whatever your plan is. So if you have some notes and you're planning on having them on your screen, maybe print them out. I probably should have done that. Maybe have a printout of them also. If Facebook is not being reliable, be ready to jump over to YouTube. Know how to let your people know that you're not able to go live on Facebook, go find me on YouTube. I've seen a number of people who've been hosting Zooms, and the Zoom would lock people out. Maybe you hit your limit or something, and so you had to tell people to go to Facebook. Know how to do that stuff ahead of time. Have a backup plan. And number 2, be ready to roll with the punches. This goes back to be silly, laugh at yourself. You're gonna make mistakes. It's okay. It's okay. I was doing a bat mitzvah this past week, and I was covering, not this past weekend, sorry, the weekend before. And in the middle, we had both a couple people in the sanctuary, the immediate family, and then we were streaming. And in the middle of the service, the entire stream just shut down. Everything just quit. So we rolled with the punches. We figured it out, right? We made do with what we had. And so we in the sanctuary, we continued to talk and to learn and to celebrate together, to celebrate the bat mitzvah. We got the stream back on. We went back. You gotta roll with the punches if you're gonna do this kind of stuff, folks, because things are gonna break, things aren't gonna work, you're gonna make mistakes. You gotta be able to laugh at yourself and roll with the punches. But now, ladies and gentlemen, for the number one commandment of streaming, change and grow. Change and grow. You know, what I've been doing just on this channel, and I've only done 9 episodes of this, has changed so drastically. If you look back at the first episode, it's changed so drastically, from the lighting, from the setup, from how I'm sharing to the content that I'm sharing. It is in our DNA as people of faith to always grow, to always be changing, to always be journeying. There's a reason why the Torah doesn't end with us getting into the promised land, because there's always more journey to go, right? Miley Cyrus once said it. It's the climb. It's about the climb. It's not about the destination. So when you feel a little too comfortable with what you're sharing, change it up a little bit. One of the things that I found watching services is that I'm getting a little bored on Saturday mornings, because it's the same views, the same camera views, it's the same look, it's it's the same thing and there is some comfort in that. I get it. There's comfort in familiarity, in tradition, of course. But let's not be afraid to always shake things up just a little bit. Just enough to keep it interesting, just enough to keep people engaged, to wanting to come back and get more. So friends, those are my top 10 commandments in honor of the new year. My top 10 commandments of sharing Torah online. I do a Torah tech tips every week, usually Tuesdays at noon. I'm going to try and start doing them live at this point. Here on Facebook, I also post it on my YouTube channel. On Facebook, it's www.facebook.com/Torah Tech Tips. You can find me at davidpaskin.com, and my YouTube channel is very easy to remember, rabbidavid.tv. If you have other tips, if you have other commandments of your streaming, of your sharing Torah, please put them in the comments below. Share this video. Let's keep learning. Let's keep growing. Let's keep sharing our great Torah. Until next time, see you later.